government areas of Ogun State. Now to the nation's capital, where the FCT Emergency Management Department has warned of possible flooding in 6 area councils. In a statement by the head of public affairs, Nkechi Isa, said a weather outlook issued by the Nigeria Meteorological Agency isolated thunderstorms are likely today over parts of the FCT, Nasarawa, Kogi, Benue and Plateau states. NiMet has also advised the public to take adequate precaution as strong winds may precede the rains in areas where the thunderstorm is likely to occur. The National Flood Early Warning System of the Ministry of Environment also predicted that some locations in 15 states are likely to witness heavy rainfall that may lead to flooding between today and tomorrow. I have joining me the Director General of the Nigerian Conservation Foundation, Dr. Joseh Onoja, for more on the recent flood alert and heat waves in parts of the world. Thank you very much for joining us on TVC News at 1. NiMet has issued another flood alert, and you will agree that we're still grappling with the impact of that worst flood we had in a decade. I'm talking about the 2022 flood, where more than 600 people actually died. Would you say we've learned any lessons, and what would you say about our flood preparedness?
Thank you for having me. From what we have seen so far, I'm not sure we are prepared yet, not as adequately as we should. And we'll continue to see more and more of these warnings as things continue in this same trajectory we continue to see year on year, year after year, we continue to see that years are getting hotter, and definitely there will be intense rain where there are rains, and then there will be intense dryness where it's been dried. And these are some of the effects of the changing climatic condition that we have been talking about, that naysayers are saying that there's no climate change. So we'll continue to see these, and about our preparedness, I'm not sure we are prepared for that, because people are still building on floodplains. Areas are still being sand-filled. Areas that would have ordinarily been areas that will serve as buffer to collect the excess rain are still being sand-filled. Indiscriminate destruction of our wetlands are still ongoing. So I'm not sure we've learned much as we should. And for the preparedness in terms of the people, I'm not sure people have been even evacuation warnings have been given or mandated. Even those warnings have been given, I'm not sure they've been mandated. Until these things happen and there are loss of life, then we will start reacting instead of being proactive. So I'm not sure we've really learned much.
So they're good for action. We'll talk about the action in a bit, but talk to us about this issue of heat wave. I mean, it's quite intense. Some people probably feel this, but they do not know what name to call it. So how exactly does it express?
Well, it's just the extreme heat condition. It's very hot where usually will be hot. For instance, if areas that are experiencing 32 degrees Celsius may start experiencing 40 to 60 degrees Celsius, that is what is meant to be with the changing climatic condition. And areas that used to experience probably 40 or 30 or 40 millimeters of rainfall will start experiencing much more. Or the rain that is supposed to fall for 3 months will fall within 1 week. So we'll continue to see all of this unpredictability of our weather pattern and weather conditions. And this is not something that someone is told. This is something that we are all experiencing. And so we'll continue to see more and more of this. So to talk about the current situation that is happening with the heat wave, it's just been recorded that last year, and we're waiting for the record for this year. Last year was the hottest year ever recorded in human history, ever since we started recording the temperature. And this year we're hoping that it will be hotter than last year. So we're hoping to see more and more if drastic actions are not taken, both at the local level and at the global level.
All right, so let's talk about those drastic actions that need to take place. What do we as citizens need to do, and what do the government and organizations need to do at this time?
You see, one of the actions that for the government, the policy and legislative framework and the political will to do what governments have signed on to do, things that should be done. For instance, one of the easiest way, at least for us, we're talking about our degraded landscape and how we need to plant our trees, how we need to reforest our areas, because if we don't do that, then we'll continue to see the impact and the effect. You know, last year during the COP, we were talking about we're moving away. Cities are moving away from talking about gardens in cities. Now we're talking about cities in gardens. That is making the gardens, making the cities as green as possible to be able to help the microclimatic condition of those cities, and then it will control some of these situations. For instance, we have our cities that are very bare now, so that when it rains or when the heat wave comes, there's nothing to absorb it. The trees are no longer there to absorb it, to absorb the excess water. The trees are no longer there to absorb the excess heat. And it has been shown that the cities or communities that have trees are almost 5 to 6 degrees Celsius cooler than the cities that don't have trees in them. So these are some of the effects. So one easiest way that we must do as citizens and as government is to ensure that we plant our trees. We commit to it, and then we do what we say we're going to do. Right, I know Nigeria is committed to restoring 4 million hectares of land. We have to do that. We're not just planting trees, but we have to nurture these trees to ensure that they grow to maturity.
All right, then Dr. Joseph Onoja, Director General, Nigerian Conservation Foundation, thank you so much for talking to us on TVC News at 1.